Minister, for the relatively shorter reply. However, I'd asked in A1 for the different categories of domestic violence, if she could provide the figures. The law provides for a dozen or so different categories: stalking, intimidating, lots of these. And the statistics are not available and are not published by Statistics Mauritius. Can the Minister table, perhaps, from this question, the detailed statistics today? And secondly, arrange for Statistics Mauritius on a quarterly basis to publish these figures so that everybody concerned can see whether measures that are being taken are working or not.
Well, Madam Speaker, I have no qualm in tabling the information, but with regards to victims of domestic violence, we have cases like physical abuse, psychological abuse, verbal abuse, harassment, intimidation, but sure, I will table the information.
And perhaps arrange with Statistics Mauritius for a quarterly. Madam Speaker, the United Nations consider that, and we all consider, I'm sure, that domestic violence is a gross violation of human rights. And gender leaks have said that, in fact, it's 15 times, because 15 times more often than is actually reported. So why haven't we got up to now a massive radio, TV, poster campaign to encourage people to come forward and denounce domestic violence and also to prevent further occurrences?
Well, we do have a sensitization campaign which is being done at the level of the ministry. I may say aggressive sensitization campaign all over the country, be it in the community centers, in the social welfare centers, at the women's shelters. And we are also having talks at all levels of the country with the youth and with all stakeholders. And as I have said in my reply earlier, so we are working, we will have a press conference on Thursday, and we will come up with launching of a whole program. It will be on billboard, radio, so that we can, have as much, attend the large public.
We look forward to this campaign. Madam Speaker, I'll ask the Honourable Minister. The website of the ministry is totally inadequate. It doesn't even have the recent changes in the law last year. And it's in English, not in French, not in Creole. Can she look at the website and make sure that it reflects the wishes of the ministry, which is to propagate all the things that can be done, or the different aspects of the law, etc.?
You are talking about the recent changes of?
I'm talking about your minister's website.
Well, we are in the process. We have already started the work, but with regards to the amendment that has been brought in the Domestic Violence Act of last year, well, we are in the process of coming up with some changes and implement.
Speaker, it's been more than a year and a half since the law was changed. I think that's not a good excuse to say that we are implementing changes to the website now. Can the Minister please have a look at it urgently? Now, as far as the number of arrests following physical injury is concerned, the Minister hasn't given the figures, but it's usually around 800 a year. Now we have 60 arrests only, whereas the law is very specific. Each case of physical injury should be arrested or can be arrested, provided an ASP, Assistant Secretary of Police, provides the information, does this. Why isn't the law applied? Why are perpetrators of physical violence arrested and taken to the magistrates the next day?
Well, it is for the police officer to decide if a case of victims' violence has been reported to the police. There is an inquiry which is ongoing, and it is up to the police. If it is an arrestable offense, I'm sure the police is doing his work, because I have had, I must say, since I am in office in 2017, I have had several meetings with the police officers. I am regularly having talks with the Commissioner of Police, and I have explained to the Commissioner of Police that perpetrators cannot get away easily, and that we have to apply the law whenever it is necessary. But with regards to cases, it all depends on the inquiry also.
Speaker, surely it cannot be satisfactory that with about 800 cases of physical violence, less than 1/10 of the people are arrested, whereas the law says quite specifically that they should be. So can the Honourable Minister see to it that arrests are made systematically, like during driving, systematically for cases like that, because these women mostly are living a daily hell. You've said yourself that every 7 or 8 days there's a case. So it may not be a severe injury, but it is very frequent, and that is where the gravity of it is.
Well, I don't think that arresting only will be the best. Let me answer, please. I don't think that arresting the perpetrator will be the only solution. It is essential that we work to bring about a change in mindset in society. This is very important, and I firmly believe that education is an important tool. We must educate our boys to respect girls and women, and we have to teach them that violence against women in any form is a violation of human rights. If we have to start at the base, we have to look at the root of the problem. It is not only a question of applying the law. We might have the best of law, we might have the best framework, but if there is no change in mindset, if there is no change in attitude, I don't think we will be able to curb domestic violence. This is very important, and let me hear, if you, with your permission, Leader of the Opposition, I would like here...
permission of the Speaker, not the permission.
Thank you, Madam, with your permission also. Sorry about that. Domestic violence is not only the concern of the government. Domestic violence is not only the concern of the opposition. Domestic violence is not only the concern of the Speaker. Domestic violence is across board. Domestic violence concerns each and everyone, because we all want to live in a peaceful country. We want to have good human beings. I don't know why you are laughing, so this is a serious matter. So please, it is not at all for the... Well, let me answer. It is not at all...
Order, please.
It is not at all for the minister to decide whether to arrest a person or not. The decision lies on the evidence of the case.
Speaker, I'd really not want to get into cases of protection orders issued against government ministers. I hope the minister doesn't take me down that road. That would be a very bad road for the government. I hope you don't, and let's respect the question, Madam Speaker. What I want to ask the Honourable Minister are that breaches of protection orders, the very protection orders we're talking about now, breaches of protection orders are common. The sentence is small, few hundred rupees, most cases. It takes years for this to go to the court anyway. I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister, since she's talking about changes in the law, whether she envisages deafening the law against breach of protection orders and removing, we had put it ourselves, I agree, removing this provision that magistrates may give a fine and make it mandatory for prison sentences, a few days, a few weeks, as overseas, for breaches of protection orders, because women are dying every week.
Well, that's why I say that we have to look at the root of the problems. We are analyzing all the causes. Why is it that there is so many cases of domestic violence? Of course, if need be, we will have to bring changes, but we have to take into consideration that changes have just been brought last year. And if we have to bring more changes to support, to give assistance, to curb this increase of domestic violence, surely we will go for it.
Disappointed, Madam Speaker. Still, let me ask now the Honourable Minister whether, in order to protect women who may go into a relationship with God knows who, whether she's going to have a domestic violence disclosure scheme so that a woman may find out from the police or the DPP or whatever whether a man has had previous instances of violence against women.
Well, we have to think about this particular measure, and then we will decide. We have to think about it. It needs...
Madam Speaker, I am surprised because it is in the report. She obviously has not read fully the report of the domain report. It is there. You will check it, and it is there. I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether the command center, that was a key pin kingpin or whatever it is, a key part of the domain report. Where is that command center? She hasn't mentioned it in her reply.
I have mentioned it in my reply, so we are working on it. As the leader of the opposition knows, everything cannot be done overnight. It needs time. We are working on it. I am here since January 2017, so we are working on it, and we are working on it seriously, and it will come.
Working on the website, we're working on this, we're working on that. Madam Speaker, occupation and tenancy orders. You are well aware, I'm sure, Madam Honourable Minister, the daily hell that women have to go to when they have to live in the same house as the person who verbally, whatever, beats them and denigrates them. So, can I say, why during all this period, the police, the Family Service Bureau, have not, as far as I remember, have not asked any or a very small amount of tenancy orders and occupation orders according to the figures that you have yourself given?
It depends on the victims of domestic violence. If the victim of domestic violence doesn't want to come forward to apply for occupation order, so what can we do? This is a simple answer. This is why I have said in my reply, and I continue saying this, victims of domestic violence must come forward to report. We must say that domestic violence is less taboo now, yes, but we are encouraging victims to come forward. They must report, they must denounce, they must apply. We can't force them. It is for them to apply, then the rest...
Madam Speaker, had we had a massive information campaign, they would have been aware of their rights. Let me ask one question to the Honourable Minister concerning protection orders. Whether the law, when it is changed, will ensure that protection orders will include orders for financial assistance. The woman is gone, and then there's financial assistance given so that she may live properly. You give 400 rupees a day, that may not be sufficient.
Well, we at this stage, we do not give financial assistance, but what we are doing, we have already liaised with some NGOs, for example, Passerelle, and Passerelle is giving a very helpful hand. Passerelle will give some training to those women so that they can stand on their own feet again and face life. So we are liaising with some NGOs to give a helping hand, because I have said domestic violence cases, we need all stakeholders, all partners.
On the case of Passerelle, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister whether she's aware that Passerelle asked for funding from the National CSR and this funding was refused. Are you aware of that? And if you are now aware of it, will you talk to your colleague and ensure that Passerelle, who you have just loaded the action, receives money from the National CSR?
I'm not aware of it. I will look at it and then come back to you. Or maybe you will have to come with a substantive question, or I will look at it and then come. Why are you saying...
No, Honourable Leader of Opposition, the Minister is replying. Please allow her to finish, then you'll ask your question. Yes, Minister.
The Leader of the Opposition, I'm not happy at all with your behavior. You are...
No,
this is... Please.
The Speaker.
This is...
Honourable Minister.
This is...
Please. Honourable Minister, please sit down. If there is anything to do with the behavior of the Honourable Leader of Opposition, I will draw attention immediately. Please continue.
Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition has come with NPNQ. So he's putting question his rights, but I have the right to answer, so I don't think why he has to say shame on you.
No. Honourable Minister, whatever word he's pronounced, if he has said shame on you and you wish him to withdraw these words, then you can stand up and ask that he withdraws these words. This is the proper channel to address him.
Okay, Madam Speaker, I will very much like the Leader of the Opposition to withdraw these words, because I'm doing my job. I'm not that kind of person who are hiding, so I'm doing my job, so I want people to respect me.
Honorable
No
Leader
problem.
of
I
Opposition.
don't want to waste time.
Honorable Leader of
No
Opposition,
problem.
please sit down. Did you say these words, and are you prepared to withdraw? Please, if you said it, there's nothing wrong in withdrawing. We can then pursue with our PNQ. Otherwise, we are losing time.
Pleasure, Madam. I withdraw it, but I maintain that the minister is not doing anything that is expected of her to get this problem sorted out. This, I maintain this, and I'm not withdrawing that ever, Madam Speaker. Now, there are no shelters in the north of the island at all. You can imagine if a family has a problem in the north, many have, they have to move elsewhere with the children, school, etc. What is she doing to encourage setting up a shelter in the north?
Madam Speaker, I am here, I have said, since January 2017. Before me, there was another minister. So 2 years. 2 years. So I would very much like to know what has been... I would very much like to know what the previous minister has done during all these 2 years. So let me
Order,
answer.
please.
It is that I have done so much, I have done here and there. But I'm talking of what I have been doing since January 2017. January 2017. So, well, this year we have 2 additional shelters which are already operational.
Should have known that. Madam Speaker, let me ask the Honourable Minister whether it is planned to have also rehabilitation centres for abusers, so that they may leave the family home and leave the victim at home. Are you planning rehabilitation centres for abusers, not just for victims?
The Leader of the Opposition, you have not listened carefully to what I have answered. I have already said in my reply that we have started programs for the perpetrators, because I have said this is very important to have, well, shelter. All this,
please, don't raise your voice, especially when you're in a sitting position.
well, if need be, we will have all this requires time, all this requires budget. If we have to, we will come with it. But you have to understand that things have to be done properly. We need time also.
No shelters, she was not aware of shelters in the north. She is not going to give rehabilitation centres for abusers. Madam Speaker, I'd like to ask the Honourable Minister a question which was raised by the previous Leader of the Opposition concerning marital rape, express inscription, inclusion in the criminal law, and also I'd like to add this question of if you witness an act of adultery, you can say that to be excused or to be excused. Now, these 2 pieces of legislation are urgent. This amendment to the criminal code, you are yourself, I think, a lawyer. When are you going to come up with these changes, or are you also working on this?
We can't change things overnight. So 2 years the previous minister was there. So then at that, during those period, during the 2 years, so the Leader of the Opposition does not think it necessary for needful to be done. It is only now that I am here that we are coming up with all sorts of measures which has to be done, which ought to be done. So we are analyzing. If need be, we will come with it. But a study has to be carried out first, and then if need be, we will come with it.
Time is over.